Hey guys, what's going on everybody? Thomas here once again. Today we're back here with the Internet Historian. Yeah, finally uploaded a while back. So this one's called I Become Fancy Theater. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I mean if he's talking fancy, I guess he's talking Globe Theater? I don't know. I'm actually kind of curious to see what he's going to do here. So, let's see what you got, Internet Historian. See what you do. Doing back. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
Brought to you by NordVPN.
Ooh. Fair enough. Okay.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Look at you. Uncultured. Unsophisticated. Middle class.
Harsh.
No, don't speak. You'll just make me throw up.
Bro.
I'd say cover up with this dinner jacket, but I'm afraid that you'd get your head stuck in the sleeve and asphyxiate.
Help, I'm stuck.
Listen,
Really?
lowball. Don't you want to be refined? Don't you want to be fancy, like moi? That's French. I don't expect you to know what it means. But I have some good news. Before this financial year ends, I have decided to make a charitable deduction. It's you, champ! For you see,
We can have premarital sex.
This virus. I have made several videos, though, which will show you how to bluff your way to the inner circles. Undetected. Yes. By the time the elites find out,
Neon Genesis Evangelion is psychological and intense.
it will be too late. I get
Let me
you
guess.
in, you eat all the hors d'oeuvres, and we get out. That's the plan. And let's begin your instruction with
The theater.
theater, the YouTube premium of upper society. And the first section? Symphony.
Not mine, I swear.
The first period of performance, that's called Baroque, from 1600 to 1750. This featured Bach and Vivaldi. Now there was also a guy named Giuseppe Tartini, and he was the best one of them all, because one evening
Tartini.
he had a dream where the devil showed up and presented him with a deal. The devil would become his teacher and impart on him everything he knew about music. Yes. Once Tartini had learnt everything he could, he handed over his violin and asked the devil to play. The devil played the greatest musical piece that Tartini had ever heard. Tartini woke up with a gasp, and he tried to recreate what he had heard in the dream. And what he wrote down was his most famous piece, the best thing he had ever written. And he said, "This is shite compared to the original. This is nothing better than a tribute." And
Damn.
that's where you get the Tenacious D song from. He named this piece The Devil's Trill, and he claimed that the difference between his version and the version in the dream was so great that he would have smashed his violin and quit music forever had he not needed it for his job. Classical, 1750 to 1830. Mozart and Beethoven show up like
This?
da 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 da.
Da.
Now, Beethoven was famously known for going deaf. Once that happened, everyone told him that he should just quit music forever. But he just wouldn't hear it. Anyway,
he couldn't hear
there's
it.
so much I could say about these two. Romantic era.
There we go.
Now that's
Moving
when
along.
everybody started kissing, and it's my favorite. Great piece. Mwah. Oh, you played wonderfully too. Mwah. We also enjoyed listening. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. All you need to know
Someone's
about this
kissing.
one is Chopin and Berlioz. Berlioz, however, was not getting any kisses. He was relatably, painfully single, living alone in Paris, the city of love. So here's how it started. He's there and he's in his early 20s, and he is looking for a new GF. So one day he attends a Shakespearean play, and on stage he spots an actress,
Period.
and he immediately falls in love with her. He wrote her many notes confessing his love, but her DMs went unreplied.
Oof.
So he began writing a symphony about her. Ah, how can she ignore this? And also around this time, he started smoking a lot of opium, but don't worry about that. Anyway, so he wrote this piece just for her. However, his DM still went unreplied.
Ouch.
For several months, he started to get quite disheartened. Until he saw another girl.
Here we go
So
again.
he immediately fell in love with her instead, and he said, you know what? I'm going to change that symphony I wrote, so now it's about this other lady, and not about that ugly one that I didn't like anyway. This time, happily, she reciprocated, and they fell in love and were set to marry. Suddenly, what the fuck? Phones haven't been invented yet. Yes, hello, I'm busy. Oh, Rome? To study? Absolutely, I'll catch the first flight out. So Berlioz went to Rome to study music. However, while he was away, he got some news.
Uh-oh.
Berlioz. I have to tell you something.
I'm pregnant?
Sacre bleu. Some other, more handsome musician swooped in and married his girl while he was in Rome, and they ran away together. Berlioz was furious, and
Damn,
he set
that's
his
harsh.
mind to solving the problem. I know what I'm going to do.
Comes another symphony.
I'm gonna murder her and her lover
Did he?
and her mom,
Mom?
and then I'm gonna do a self-murder.
Damn.
All right, so this gets pretty elaborate. His idea is to dress up as a housemaid.
Wait, really?
He has bought both poison and 2 guns. Now, he is going to sneak into the house of his ex-fiancée, and there she and her mother will be sipping tea, which he has already poisoned. Then he
Yes,
will
they don't drink.
pull off the clothing and reveal himself. Blam, blam, sad overture. So, he heads back home to Paris to do it. But while on his travels there, it takes quite a while, he has to change carriages. And when he does that, he leaves the guns in one of the little cubbies. So he's lost all his weapons. What is he going to do now?
How did you forget? Like, I'm surprised he actually left those behind. Huh. So we got, okay, so just for recap, we had the artist or, musician that was inspired by the devil in a dream. Odd. Giuseppe, we'll go with that. And now we got a guy who's about to kill his, former wife or girlfriend, fiance. We'll go fiance. Because he had to go to Rome for 2 years and some guy was just, yoink. Now he's going to kill 3 people for it. Wow. And also in a maid costume. How do you even get that? Anyway, let's see what he's going to do now without the poison and the guns. Well,
his next leg on the stop is Genoa, and he decides, you know what, let's just skip the murder and go straight to the finale. So he stops off in the port city of Genoa, and he's there at the side of the Mediterranean. He pauses for a moment, then he throws himself in. Now, some people see this whole thing happen, and they think he's had an accident, so they run in to try to save him. They pull him to the shore. He lived. So he has now reached his lowest point.
Oof.
He dejectedly continues home. He gets back to Paris, and he wallows around, feeling pretty sorry for himself.
ouch.
But he decides,
Talk about the suffering artist now.
you know what? I may as well do what I do best in times of trouble. Smoke a lot of opium. And while I do that, I shall write a symphony. Although I ain't gonna name it after that hoe who stole my heart. And so he went back to work. But here's the thing. It was the greatest piece he had ever written. And it premiered to a huge crowd. And you know what? It was a smash hit. #1 on iTunes. But then, and here's a bloody plot twist. Remember the first girl?
Harriet?
Well, she attended that concert and she realized that Berlioz was a genius. And then she wrote a letter to your boy saying how good your bloody symphony was, and sorry about not replying, I just put my phone down and got super busy or whatever. By the way, I love you. And so Berlioz goes, well, I love you too. And a year later, they were married.
Wow.
There's a beautiful moral of the story.
Wow.
See, fellas, don't jump in the Mediterranean. Anyway, A few years later, they got divorced. Because weirdly, he cheated on his wife with the housemaid.
What?
Not that one, a different one.
Oh.
But then he married that housemaid. Hooray.
Seriously?
But then when he died later on, for some reason, he gets buried
so?
with both of them. It's kind of strange.
Here you go.
But
first and second
moving
wife?
on to the Impressionist musicians.
Cool.
Now that's Claude de...
Debussy.
The what now? Claude de what? You know what? You'd better go to ad time. All right, guys, welcome back to the Nord stream.
Day one.
Today we're playing Assassin's Creed 3. Chat, come on, chat. Hey, oh, everyone's spamming Nord in the chat.
Day three.
Whoa, a new follower. Hey, welcome to the Dream Team Sub Cream. Thank you so much for great to see. Oh, unfollowed.
And day 12.
Sorry, guys. The cleaners are here. Sorry, just ignore the mess. I haven't cleaned up these bottles yet. No, it's just tea. It's just tea.
Sure.
I stream for 10 hours a day, and it's like the algorithm is against me or something. How come everyone is watching Asmon's stream, and I'm not getting any new followers? I'm playing the games. What more do you want me to do?
Aren't you Nord?
Just a quick word from the sponsor. NordVPN is the VPN that you can trust. So go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian for a huge deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months for free, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. My God. Today we are gonna be watching the new Snow White movie. I love the intro. Oh, I love seeing that Disney logo. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Guys, I'm just gonna get up and get some food. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, and sheesh.
What the f? Who reported my stream?
Damn.
Hello, my Nordlings. Welcome back to the stream. Can we get some ends in the chat, guys? No, not like that. Mods!
Oh boy.
Welcome back to the ASMR stream for NordVPN. Today I'm going to be drinking a can of Coke while I say the word Nord. Ah, Nord. Hey, thank you for the tier 3 sub.
It's time to get it.
With NordVPN, I can be outside my house, Jack's Film's house, Samito's house, Ordinary Things' house. Just like that. Welcome back to the hot tub stream. What do you guys mean? How many hot dogs can I put in my mouth? Why? I'll just... Oh my God, $5,000 donation. Thank you so much. You guys are such good friends. Streaming's not for me. I'd rather go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian to get a huge deal on a 2-year plan, plus 4 months for free.
Actually did stream?
And over.
Okay, thank you. So, now to...
Watching Netflix, are you?
Hi. Now where'd he go?
All tucked in with a 3-hour essay on Good Game Good, and here's why.
Fallout New Vegas is actually the only based Bethesda game.
Turn that off.
Hey.
I've got something for you much less enjoyable and far more expensive. We're going to the theater.
The hell? How'd you get me in here?
From the ancient Greek, theatron, the most dramatic of the Transformers. It means a place for viewing. Here's a Roman theater. They were quite simple back then. You have the stage, the auditorium, and the vomitorium. Now, for a very long time, people thought that the vomitorium was a place where the Romans would gorge themselves, where they would eat so much that they would throw up and then gorge themselves again because they were so decadent and or bulimic. But it comes from the word vomir, which means to spew forth, because that's where people go in and out. So vomitorium is just a dramatic way of saying the entrance. Now, if you skip forward to the 1800s, things are getting a lot more modernized, but they still didn't have electric. So they had what's called the limelight. And that's why they say, to be in the limelight, to be the star of the show. What they would do was take a piece of quicklime and heat it up super hot, which will naturally glow very bright. They would then take reflective mirrors and lenses to focus the beam, and they would use that as an early form of the spotlight. the limelight is not because it's green, but because it's made from quicklime. In the modern day, things are a lot more advanced, and they can do all sorts of cool shit with, like, lasers going into your eyeballs and all sorts of stuff. But it's not just the tech that's had an upgrade, it's the architecture as well. In Elizabethan times, they had the yard, and you could get in here for about a penny apiece. And this is where all the poor people stood to watch the shows. It's like when you go to Oppenheimer and you end up with the worst seats in the IMAX theater, right? But thankfully, in modern times, we have fixed that problem. We kicked out all the poor people and we sunk the floor down low and put in an orchestra pit. Now, these things are usually 6 to 12 feet deep, so they're not obstructing the audience's view. But having a giant hole at the end of a stage is quite dangerous. So usually they put a big net there as well. And yet, a lot of people still get pitted. Like a lot of people. In 2011, during a production of The Sound of Music, one of the lead actresses fell into the orchestra pit and was left paralyzed from the waist down. In 2009, a conductor, not a superconductor, just a regular one, fell 14 feet into the dark pit and broke 9 vertebrae and 1 ankle.
Okay.
Mamma mia. And he fell on his pointy conducting thing. At the Bolshoi Theatre, a violinist died from his injuries after falling into the pit. This theatre is prone to all sorts of accidents, by the way. It's kind of cursed. But performers and musicians aren't the only ones falling into the pit. In 1988, an 82-year-old man fell from his balcony box seating all the way down into the pit during a performance of Macbeth. He died. Very spooky. Even already dead people are getting pitted. In 2016, a man sprinkled his friend's ashes into the orchestra pit at the Met Theatre.
Let me guess, he
This
fell in?
happened during the intermission, and it was a sort of tribute to a mentor of his. But of course, people went, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know," and he flees the scene.
Wow.
Everyone's coughing and sneezing up dead guy, and people think, is this anthrax? What is this? So they call in the anti-terrorism police, and the whole show is cancelled for the rest of the evening.
Yeesh, Roger, what are you doing? Seems a little messed up.
A quick intermission.
Where to?
Or is it? Ooh, fiddle-tee-dee, I am the trap master. Not like that. Do not ask me to reveal my secrets, woman. I have dedicated my life to the mysteries of the theater. Ah, the theater. She has so many enigmatic traps.
Oh, the trapdoors.
Let us start with the most simple, yet devious. The wall trap. It allows the actor to walk directly into the set piece. Ah, where did he go? Nobody knows. Cast your eyes over here
Backstage.
to the genie trap. Now, the victim stands on this dumbwaiter, and a counterweight launches their hapless body up onto the stage. Wheesh! In the olden days, this circle of flaps would sometimes go on top, and then that would make the whole thing just one way. Now, back when they made this thing, they didn't have hydraulics. So instead, they'd have like 6 stagehands pulling as fast as they could. And sometimes it would go totally wonky, or it wouldn't open properly, or they'd only get about halfway through. Oh, well, I guess that's it. There's only 2. Wrong! This is the vampire trap. And if I want to come back up again, this is called the sunroof trap. Very cool. Watch out for the closing doors on this one. It managed to trap Spider-Man's foot back into production in 2013. Me and the Green Goblin, we collabed on this one. All right, there's one more. The ghost glide. What you do is stand on this slidey bit, and it ascends diagonally, which makes it look like he's coming out of the ground. But the ladies are there yawning, they're going, ooh, short ghost. But then, 5 foot, 5 foot 1, 5
just
foot
grows
2.
and grows
All the ladies are
and
turning their
grows
heads now.
and
5
grows.
foot 3, 5 foot 4, 5 foot 5. All the ladies are loving it. Now, I bet you're wondering, what happens to the actors when they go down these traps? Are they dead and gone forever? Yes, sometimes. In 1888, Frederick Federici was playing the role of Mephistopheles in Faust at the Princess Theatre in Melbourne. As he descended the trap at the end of the play, "Goodbye, everybody, goodbye.
See ya."
He had a heart attack and died.
Really?
Never seen again. So as you can imagine, with this many deaths, the theatre has become a highly haunted place. Oh yes. In fact, sometimes you can put your ear right up to the wall and you can hear two male ghosts wrestling. Can't fake that.
Sure about that.
Another ghost hole.
That's a glory
Don't
hole.
look inside. I did once. Almost went blind. That's why I wear the mask. Anyway, because of all the ghosts, the theatres do whatever they can to keep the spirits happy. See this? It's called a ghost light. When everything is closed, it is kept on always. Kept on for the ghosts, so that they don't bump their shins in the dark or whatever. At the Palace Theatre in London, there has been some ghostly activity.
It seems to be a bit of a hotspot for ghostly activities.
And that's why they always keep two empty seats at the back, so that the ghosts may sit there and watch the show.
So that's why we traditionally kept a couple of seats off sale for the ghosts. However, Harry Potter is so popular that we sell those seats now.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Also, most theatres close for 1 day per week, and on those days, the ghosts are left to perform for each other in their own shows. Which they like, we think.
I was worried about my own vagina. It
Oh,
needed a
finally,
context,
the vagina
a
monologues.
culture of other vaginas.
Oh, sorry. That's something
You know,
else. Oh,
I wasn't always part of the elite. In
you
fact,
can tell.
from a very young age, I grew up in an orphanage. No, my parents weren't dead. Rent in that building was just really cheap. But my parents showed me no affection. And as soon as they could, they sent me off to boarding school. But boards were always their
Not
passion,
that board.
not mine. I tried to run away, but they caught me. And boy, did they throw the book at me. Alas, I did not dodge in time. I spent the next few years in a coma. A Native American town, Pueblo, Acoma. And the people there taught me how to read American. They also had a local library, and I spent my days buried in books, learning as much as I could about the arts. And once someone noticed me buried under those books and they rescued me, I knew I wanted to teach default character presets like yourselves, all about Shakespeare. Editor's
Comes the big
note.
boy.
I started Googling Shakespeare and I got kind of distracted, so I don't know. Here's a WAV file. You can do something with this. Put him in like a classroom or something. All right, attention, everybody. I am your new teacher. You are a bunch of troubled inner city youths. All you know is shoot gun, fail test, and crime. But I'm here to teach you that actually, books and reading and stuff are actually pretty epic after all. Now, the earliest known written language is what, Mr. Single Parent Household? I don't know, Teach, but you're never gonna get through to me. Oh, really? Well, what if I go back in time? Back in time. In the long
we go.
ago, very few could read. But to be fair,
continue.
most of the written languages were kinda shit. This is cuneiform, the very first written language, and it has far too much punctuation. Then eventually came along the Egyptians, and they invented emojis, but they would call them hieroglyphs. Anyway, the typical written thing would go like this. Message for you, sir. Big bird, man with stick, man sitting, circle. Oh, more bills. Eventually that became quite annoying, so the Phoenicians, who were a kind of Lebanese, very progressive especially for those days, now they came up with a better idea. They started going, hey, that sounds a bit like an A. Buh, that sounds a bit like a B. Kuh, and so on, until we had a proto-form of the alphabet.
Yeah, a lot more
Now,
complicated.
the Greeks thought that was pretty neato, but they said, let's come up with an even better version with 22 letters, and soon that will be like English.
What's English?
Oral history. Greeks, more like geeks. Got 'em. Oh, yeah? Well, let me tell you about something highly relatable. Of the surviving Greek works, the greatest hits were the Iliad and the Odyssey. Now, because most people couldn't read, this stuff wasn't written down for a very long time, and instead it was memorized and performed. And when they performed it, they used one of these, a lyre. Now, this was great for conveying tone, right? So here's a soft bit, doo-doo-doo, but then this is a big dramatic bit. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Now, the Iliad starts with this guy, Menelaus, king of Sparta, and he has a wife, Helen, and she is a very fine lady.
Helen.
And then the Prince of Troy shows up. His name is Paris, and he goes, "Damn, shorty, awooga, awooga." Hey, that's what he'd say, right? And he and his boys abduct her and took her all the way back to his crib in Troy. Now this makes Menelaus quite miffed.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, hold on there, Buster.
He declares a turf war, but he can't win it alone, so he calls on his homies, Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and Achilles, the best drive-by shooter of all time. But Achilles is not in the mood to fight, so the whole of the Iliad is basically spent trying to convince this guy to get involved.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Eventually, they win the turf war by being very sneaky. They make a giant horse, which is the symbol of Troy, and they leave it at the front gate. That's their way of saying, "Oh, I guess you win. We're walking away now." And meanwhile, thousands of soldiers go off and hide in some bushes. Now, the Trojans are very suspicious, but they can see that the Greek ships are actually sailing away into the horizon. So they know, "Oh, it must be real, must be real. We've won the many years' war."
Yeah, little do they know
But
what's
actually,
gonna happen.
there's almost no one on those ships, and there's a surprise inside the horse. Later that night, when everyone's asleep, boiling hot tzatziki everywhere. And also some soldiers wearing thermal protection. They get out and they open the gates, and then everyone comes out of the bushes, running into the city, and kill everybody.
Pretty much.
After they win the war, Odysseus heads back home to Ithaca. However, on his way, he starts making beef with Poseidon, god of the sea. And Poseidon is mad at the disrespect, so he sends Odysseus on a long-ass detour, and that detour is the story of the Odyssey. Pretty epic, right, kids?
Still nothing.
Whoa, Teach, that's fire. I'm starting to come around. That Odysseus guy is literally me. Yeah, I'm gonna try that horse trick on my ops. Homer, from Homer's Odyssey, is not a character in the story. He's the guy who tells the story, and then people wrote it down. Now, moving chronologically to the next big one, you've got the Bible. And for all practical purposes, this was basically an oral tradition too. Most people were illiterate by this point, and the Bible was written in Latin, and pretty much only the clergy knew Latin, so they would be the one to recite it to people.
It says that the cute lady at the front should go on a date with me, please. Listen, the rules are the rules. I didn't say it, the book did.
There was a translated version into English, the Wycliffe's Bible, and you better believe that thing was a threat to the order, so they made that illegal to own.
What?
And if you were found with an unlicensed copy, the punishment would be death. So it remained. The Bible was read to the people. Now, by the 1300s came Chaucer, who wrote the Canterbury Tales, and that was a pretty big deal.
Get this book now.
Because it's one of the first significant works written in Middle English. It describes a bunch of people making a pilgrimage from Southwark to Canterbury, which is here to here, which was the longest journey anyone had ever made in the 1300s.
No.
Now, it's a whole series of stories, and most of them can be boiled down to, how come if everyone is on a pilgrimage, you're all so focused on material stuff? Oh, hypocrites much? Dong. It's now the 1600s, and they've updated all the textbooks from Middle English to regular. In 1601, King James I said, all right, you know what, let's everyone have a copy of the Bible they can read. Let's do a King James Bible. I won't feature in it, but I'd love to be in the title. And he commissioned a committee of scholars to rewrite the thing in English, God's language. It took 8 years. And that brings us to Shakespeare. And he's a huge deal. Oh, look, we're out of time. But sir, we're supposed to do penis inspection day today. No, there's no time. Roll the end card.
Really?
The end.
Huh.
All right, that's the lesson. You watched the whole video. Or at least, you had it on in the background while you scrolled your phone. And I couldn't be prouder of you. There's just one more quick thing I want to tell you about. Theater props. For example, this gun.
What?
Now, the thing...
Is that what?
Look who it is.
Lincoln?
I know what you're thinking, but it's just an actor. We all know that the real Lincoln is dead. You know, when he fell asleep on the tracks of the Underground Railroad. Anyway, this thing is super realistic. Although the trigger is a little loose.
Uh-oh. Well, good job, buddy.
Ruh-roh.
That one's on you, not me.
Oh, I can't believe you did that. But I won't tell anyone. And, in fact,
You're
good
the one
news.
with the gun.
I'm gonna make you my little protege. And I will be your protozo. And I got so many more lessons to teach. Still here, huh? Yeah.
Well, looks like we got ourselves a series. I wonder how much he's gonna go for. Well, guess I'll have to keep an eye out. Something tells me we won't have to wait long, but we'll have to wait and see. So then, thanks for watching, everybody. See ya.